Can you hear me? Are we in? Gotta check. Hold on. Strem? I call it strem? Oh, I'm so stupid. Gotta check. Hold on. Oh, I can hear myself. Okay, the audio works fine. Just making sure. Okay, now, happy 1 year anniversary, Snip and Poke. It's been crazy. It's already been a year. For you guys. For me, it's went ultra slow for Snip and Poke anniversary. I've been basically waiting for this day for a whole year. It's finally happened. And just in the span of under a year, we've announced a movie, a game, the cartoon show reboot, which is still work in progress, same as everything else, except the movie, which is basically has no progress on it at all except the script, which is still incomplete. So yeah, the reason of the stream is because I want to read to you the Snip and Poke movie script so far. Now, it's quick warning, this has spoilers for the movie, and it would have spoilers technically for the game. The game ties in with this story, if that makes sense. Because like Snip and Poke has basically its own cinematic universe or something, like the MCU, but except it's Snip and Poke. But it's not only a movie. There are not only movies. It's a cartoon show, game, and a movie. So yeah. All right. So I have very little done of this movie. I only basically have the first act, a little bit of the second act done, and the whole third act done. So, yeah, prepare yourself. And you probably won't know what's going on, so let me just tell you a little bit of the story from Snip and Poke the game. This is spoilers again for the game, so if you just want to wait till you play, till you'll see the game and play it, yeah. Just wait. Just don't turn off the stream now. Wait a while, then come back onto the stream. Oh, hold on. Wait. I gotta stop. Don't come in. I'm recording, please. Okay, they're not coming in. Okay, anyways, so a quick, brief, little short story of the game. Basically, an evil scientist tries to destroy the world, and you were created by that evil scientist and another scientist to destroy the world with him, but you ended up not, so because you don't trust him. Then you ended up having to go in space to take him down before he destroys the Earth and every living being on that. And my God, my brother won't be quiet. Shh, I'm recording. Thank you. You're still not shushing. Okay, it is time for some sussy imposters. Okay, so the game, blah blah blah. I said that at the start. You have to go to space to get him, stop him from destroying the world, and you have to go through places to get into space, which is the levels, and yeah, and you meet people along the way they have to interact with. Yeah, and then when you get into space, you play the final boss, blah blah blah. And then once you destroy him, then like Snip and Poke die by the evil scientist and use them as power sources to the machine that's used to destroy the Earth. So yeah, and Snip and Poke are quote unquote dead. And now the main character you play as, Lucy, which is the scientist that scientist created, she gets super mad and then just starts going insane and then crazy. And then there's something called an insane form, and her insane form makes her like insanely powerful, and she's basically unstoppable. So yeah, and then when she goes insane, she can't control her insane form, so she only goes insane when her friends get hurt. Even though she's only known them for like a day, under a day, still her friends still make friends under a day. Oh god, oh my goodness. Okay, so as I was saying, let me tell you. Okay. Okay, so yeah, you killed the scientists. Snip and Poke are back to life now, and there's a happy ending. And now, let's tie this in with the movie. And the movie comes like, what's the math? I have to do math, hold on. 13 years after the events of the game, and yeah, 13 years, that's a lot. And now Snip and Poke are adults, and yeah. So the movie opens up with Snip having a dream about the friend Lucy, and then he ends up getting up. Why am I talking the number 15 voice? He gets scared and wakes up, and then does the daily routine. And while credits play, because making a daily routine is a smart way to put in credits. And then he puts on his hoodie and then gets out of the house to go to Brazil. No, I'm just kidding. He gets out of the house and walks down the street. Sorry, I'm ill, but that's why I'm sniffing a lot. I'm gonna be sniffing a lot. So he walks down the city, and then he ends up getting a text from his sister Needle. And then Snip goes to her garage because in the garage she's like a scientist, whatever. She's the smart one, and then she tells Snip that they came up with a plan. Well, not came up with a plan. They found the person who killed Lucy because Lucy's dead. Why am I talking in number 15 voice? I mean, it's comedy, so yeah, I like comedy. So yeah, they find out who killed Lucy, and then they end up going to Brazil. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, I'm making jokes. I'm sorry. I just find jokes like that funny. So then they end up coming up with a plan to get him. And then the movie. And then Needle said she's gonna create new weapons for them, and told them then Needle wouldn't come with them to go and stop the guy because she was too lazy. Just invented those stupid scissors. So Snip and Poke go out of the house. Well, I mean, Snip goes out of the house to get Poke and Alex. If you don't know, Alex is the guy. It's Snip and Poke's friend / stepbrother. So they get both. So Snip gets Poke and Alex, and they go and then they go on an adventure through the jungle. Okay, now we're getting to Act 2. This is basically Act 2. So in Act 2, Snip goes... everyone... wait, I only have a little bit of Act 2 done. Okay, so nothing here is finalized. I might change a few things here and there, but this is Act 2 so far. Okay, so this is one scene from Act 2. Snip sees a little guy down there. They're called Skoigoys. They're like little pets, and they're evil in this movie because they get turned evil by the evil guy villain. Ooh. And then Snip bends down to him and says, "Oh, hey there, little guy." And then the little guy slaps him across the face, and he's like, "Hey, that's not very nice," and slaps him back. And then once that happens, the little Skoigoi gets super annoyed and ends up calling out all of his other Skoigoi friends, but there's like billions of them, and then like they start chasing after them, and they're like, oh crap, and then like everyone's like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, 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 crap. They literally say that. And then that's that for that scene. Now there's another scene from Act 2 which I don't know how would this tie in with anything, but I'll make it tie in. So they go to this city place because that's where the villain is located. Sorry, I'm sniffing a lot. I'm ill. Please don't criticize me. I'm ill. Okay, so Snip and Poke. Snip, Poke, and Alex are on a motorbike, which they get somehow. I haven't found how, but like, I'll come up with a way. Maybe they go back to Needle and then grab it. I don't know. I'm just thinking of an idea how maybe Needle, maybe they borrow a motorbike and then like Snip and Poke have a tracker on them. Okay. Anyway, so they drive on this new motorbike that they got. Yes. And then once they drive on the motorbike, they start rolling down the road to go to the place, the location where it was. And then Poke was driving the motorbike because yeah. And then Snip says to Poke, asks to Poke, do you know how to drive this thing? And then Poke says nope. And then Poke says, wait, I don't know how to drive this. And then they're about to crash into a wall, screaming, and then they turn a corner. It's a bit cartoony, even though it's quite dark. Because, like, the show is cartoony, because it's a cartoon. Anyway, so they turn the corner, and then they end up stopping just in time before they crashed into a wall. Anyways, so there we go. That's that scene. Well, no, it's the same scene now. And then Needle comes down with the new tools because she has a tracker on Snip, so she knows where they are. And then she comes down to them with another motorbike, which is her motorbike. And then Poke says, "Ah, you finally came down." And then Needle replies, "Yeah." Also, then like she points at the motorbike, and this is just some kind of comedic joke that I came up with. Might not be in the final thing. I don't know. It just sounds funny. I'm not included it. Ha ha ha. I've decided for it to not be in the final. So she points at the motorbike and says, "Look in the trunk." And then because there's a cupboard at the back of it, I don't know what they're called. Like, you know the way when on motorbikes, like delivery motorbikes, there's like these little cases at the back where they put the food in. I don't know what they're called. Yeah, so it's a case or something. I don't know. So then they open it and then they see the new tools, and it's new tools for Poke, Snip and Poke, and yeah, they get new weapons. And the weapons are very advanced from their usual weapons because, like in the original show, their weapons are just a plain pair of giant scissors and just the stick. That's Poke's weapon. The stick's Poke's weapon, and Snip's weapon is the scissors. If it's not clear, you'll probably guess that since they're called Snip and Poke. I hate being sick. Either way, so this is where the third and final act begins. They test out their new weapons and see that they're way more advanced from their usual ones. Snip's scissors can split into two, become two swords, which is pretty epic in my opinion. They're also kind of nanotechy, which means he can grapple hook onto things with them. And then Poke has his stick thing, and yes, the stick can can have if you split the stick into two, it has two daggers on it, and yeah, and then like if you combine them together, Poke can spin his hand real fast, and then like he can fly, kind of like Tails. He can spin this stick real fast and turn it into a helicopter blade. Now I know that's very unrealistic, but like I'm not importing physics and logic into this. I'm just it's cartoony, even though it's pretty dark. Yeah. It's not as cartoony as the original show, of course. I have to make it some things that are real. Either way, all of this comes into a timeline also. Yeah, like Snip and Poke, blah blah blah. This is the Poke timeline. First is the cartoon show, next is the game, and then third is the movie, and then fourth is the mystery thing that I'll say at the end of the movie. Okay, now let's continue the movie. Third act. So then they track down where the guy is, and then they end up finding his location. Then they stand there. For all four of them stand there. Also, I forgot to mention one bit. Alex says, "Hey, where's my weapon?" And then Needle gives him a fire axe. So just a fire axe, not an actual like nanotechy fire axe. Just that's it. And then Needle also gets a wrench for a weapon. I forgot to mention that. Anyway, let's get back to what I was saying. So they're all into four. They're all split into four. Like they're back to back. They're all back to back. And yeah. So this is where the final battle takes place. They call out, "Where the heck are you? Come out, show yourself, bit." And then, guess who comes out? There was the Skoigoys. Oh no, they were all roboticized, and there was millions of them. Billions, I don't know. Whatever, there was a lot of them definitely though. And they all surrounded Snip and Poke. And then they all charged at them. But before that, Needle said to all of them, "Hey, I don't think we should kill these guys." And then Alex said, "Why not?" Because they aren't actually evil, Needle replied. They're just being controlled by the murderer. I guess they don't read his name. They don't reveal that his name is Cross until later. Anyways, so then Alex replies, "What are we gonna do then? Just make sure to take all the metal armor off them because they're all getting turned into robots so they can be controlled." Yeah. So just take off the iron. So just take off the metal off them and they'll be fine. Yes. So just chop the metal in half, basically. Okay, now this is it. They all the Skoigoys all charged at them. And then they started fighting. Boom, 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 boom. So yes. So it's pretty epic. There's some cool fighting moves. Yeah. And this goes on for about a minute until this is the final thing. Then they notice that the villain is actually watching, which is Cross is actually watching, which still they don't know his name is Cross because he reveals it later, but still. And then he notices that Snip saw him, and then he tries to run away, but Snip says, "Hey, try to get me my way through here. I'll go after him." And then they ended up bypassing his way through all the Skoigoys, and then he ran back after that. He ran after him. So then Snip comes face to face with the guy who killed his girlfriend. He's depressed, babe. Yeah, it's pretty sad. But I'm not sad. I cannot feel emotion, guys. Did you know that? You see Snip, that guy on screen with the light green hoodie. That's Snip. That's Snip. He's very happy that it's 1 year anniversary right on the screen. The one with the dark hoodie is Poke. Just wanting to let you know that. Either way, let's continue with the sussery. So yeah, Snip says, What Snip says to him, "What do you want? Why did you kill one of my best friends?" No, he doesn't say that. He said, "What is wrong with what is wrong with you? Why do you want to kill everyone?" He said, and then the villain replied, the sounds of my house, and the villain replied, because it's saying, "You don't want to know that," and then yes. So yeah, then the cross also says, if you would have had a weapon that day, your pesky little friend could still be alive. The villain said, and then he said, and then Snip said, "This is not about me anymore. This is about the protection of this planet that you're about to obliterate." Because they find out in the movie, they find out that he's about to obliterate. Probably still don't know how they find out, but they do find out eventually. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that, add that in real quick. Anyways, yes, and then he said. And then he says to Snip, "Oh, you're really stubborn, but obviously you won't resist. So let's see how you can handle my power." And then they fight. Then they fight to the death. Some epic anime fighting. Boom, 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 boom. And yes, they start fighting. It's pretty epic. Cool. Yeah. And then yes. And then Snip. Then after the fight, the one part of the fight, which is basically the end of the fight, Snip knocks the villain to the ground. And then the villain, he's about to finish off the villain, and then he says, "You're not worth killing," and then tries to walk away. But then the villain has a secret weapon on them, and he ends up throwing a knife at Snip, which Alex notices, and then he runs out of the Skoikois, and then he jumped in the way of Snip, and then Alex is dead, and then Snip says, "Alex!" Because his stepbrother is dead. Well, he's not dead yet, but like he dies at the end, okay? And then, so then the villain says, "Ah ha ha ha! You're so stupid. Did you really think I was just gonna let you walk away with me on the ground? No, you're too pathetic. No, you're pathetic." Okay, there we go. And then Snip is basically broken because another part of his family is dead. He's sad. And then he just gets on the floor. He's basically broken down. And then the villain laughs, and then is about to kill Snip. And then guess who appears? Lucy appears. Oh my god! You're probably like, well, how is Lucy alive? She died earlier in the movie. Well, it's actually technically not Lucy. It's her ghost. It's the ghost of her. And she comes and sees Snip just down there on the floor, and he's basically broken. And then Lucy looks at Lucy looks sad at Snip, like feel bad, and then she looks at the bad guy with an angry expression, and then looks at Snip again, and then possesses him. And then guess what's gonna happen now? Snip has an insane form now. That's insane, right? Ha 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 ha. That's a terrible joke. So now that Snip has an insane form, he gets up and then has a creepy grin and bleeding eyes as Lucy does. And then Lucy says on her own. Lucy says, "Oh, hello there, murderer." And then the murderer is the Cross. Oh no, she says, "Oh, hello, Cross." That revealing his name is Cross then, because she technically knows his name now because she died and she knows everything. Okay, it's strange. She just knows his name. Okay. And then the Cross, who instantly recognizes the voice, is confused and says, "What? Who are you? Are you Snip or Lucy?" And then Snip and Lucy, technically it's both of them now, and then Snip and Lucy pick up the scissors that are the weapon, and then it turns into a fire axe. And that's actually a reference to the game, if you didn't know, because at the game Lucy kills the villain by the killer chopping his head off. And then Lucy says, and then Lucy and Snip says to the bad guy, the Cross, and she just says both, and then charges at him, knocks him against the wall, because there's a wall there, and then punches him in the gut 20 times or something like that. Just a lot of stuff. Kicks him to the ground. Okay, I don't need to explain this fight scene. When the movie comes out, you'll see it. It's a pretty cool fight scene. Okay, now let's just get to the interesting stuff. So Poke fighting. Lucy and Snip knock the villain to the ground. And he's there. He's just there, and then Poke notices that Snip and Lucy, he doesn't know it's both though, is about to finish him off, and then he realizes this is not who Snip is, because Snip doesn't kill the villains. Well, Lucy does, but Snip doesn't kill the villains. So then what happens is Poke runs at Snip. And Lucy, and then as Snip is about to finish the villain off, Poke jumps in the way and holds the axe, grabs it, and just stops, and then holds it tight and makes sure it doesn't hit the bad guy, because they just don't want to kill him. Want to send him to jail. And then guess what happens? The villain stabs Poke in the hip, and then the Snip and the Cross stabs Poke in the hip and laughs. Your brother is annoyingly stupid. And then Snip and Lucy notices that, and then just goes into insane rage mode. Now Poke doesn't die. Okay, I'm just saying that he doesn't die. Okay, just saying that. And then Snip, Lucy go into intense rage mode, very rageful, and then end up punch like it's a final fight. It's kind of like inspired by the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, like the final scene where like fight versus the Green Goblin, like where like like Spider-Man is basically like knocked down, is about to die, but then he gets up and suddenly gets a boost of strength when he hears one sentence. Yeah, that's basically similar to this. So yeah, then gets up, dodges every move, knocks into the wall, and then and then there's blood splatters all over it. He knocks him to the wall again, basically. Blood splatter all over it, and then the police arrive. And then they take the villain, arrest him, and yeah, the villain's still alive. That's just one change because yeah. Then Lucy unpossesses Snip, and everything goes out of him. Snip starts to cry at Poke, and then Poke says, "Why are you crying? I'm fine." And then Snip is relieved and helps Poke up, and then the police take Poke to the hospital, and then Snip goes over to Alex, who is still lying there on the floor, and then like some sad scene happens where they just watch Alex die, and yeah, that's it. That's the end. That's the end. That's like basically the third. That's the quarter of Act 3. Now it's the fourth quarter and final quarter. They have a funeral for Alex, and it's kind of sad. Blah blah blah. Has slow sad music. Oh, sad. And like every character makes a reference in that movie, and I'll also reference some of like my friends and some people who support my channel in that video, in the movie specifically, because I found that to be like a good thing to have more people there at the funeral. So then the last person to put flowers down is last person to put flowers down there is Needle, and then she puts them down and then walks off, leaving Snip on his own, and then he puts down his flowers and just stays there, like he doesn't move. He feels regret and stuff. So yeah, then he just sits there. And then behind him, he hears a voice saying "Snip," and then he turns around, revealing it's another dot. It's another dot. Dots are Snip and Poke's species, basically. And then Snip says, "Who are you?" And then pulls out his scissors, like thinking it might be Cross from jail. Just coming back to kill him, and then he says, hey, no need for weapons. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm just here to say that I'm your father, because Snip's dad dies. Like basically the whole story of Snip. This will be explained in season 2, by the way. Snip lived on a planet. He's aliens created by scientists. And he lives on a planet called Sarkra. I can't remember the name of it. Some planet that's not Earth. That had no population, but it had like life on it and like plants and stuff. So scientists created species there to help the environment go over there. Yeah. So once that was happening, this Mr. Tree, who is the villain of season 2 and 3 of Snip and Poke, planned for there to be 3 seasons. The bad guy, he destroys the planet. There was out of his will, like some. It will be the scientist who's the main villain of Snip and Poke the game end up controlling Mr. Tree to destroy that planet, and yeah, that's that. So so then so then his parents, there wasn't enough skate pods for everyone, and then like so like only their like children could go, and then like they would send them off to random planets. So you're basically sending your children to random planets where you don't even know that's life on them, which is kind of a bad idea, but still, whatever. It's there. Maybe they send them to life, the planets that have life. Let's just say that. And then the quote, Snip and Poke's parents, quote unquote, die on that planet because they're still there on it. But it turns out that the dad ended up escaping, but the mom was still there. But like he didn't want to go. But like the mom convinced him to go, and he ended up going. So yeah. Also, Snip and Poke was in one of the escape pods. I'm not sure. I think I said that. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. So then the dad goes to Earth, and he lands in like some country. I don't know, some kind of country. I'm not gonna say what one it is. You'll see it visually. Whatever one I decide, it could be any country. But I just gotta make sure it's far away from where Snip and Poke takes place, which is Ireland. Yeah, because Snip and Poke's in Ireland. So let's just say like somewhere like China or something. He landed in China, and he's been tracking down his son for like years, and then he ends up finding him, and then that's how that ties in with the end. So then Snip, and then so let's continue. Snip says, "No, you're not. My father died. Who are you?" And then his father said, I survived. I went into an escape pod and survived. Please, please calm down. I've been trying to look for you ever since." And then Snip cries, blah blah blah, and hugs him. He's happy and sad and blah. And then like Snip's dad explains to him. Then Snip explains to his dad that like he like is well, his dad says to Snip that he knows he's a hero and stuff, and then Snip says he doesn't want to be one anymore, and then the dad says why. It's because some of my best friends have died, and then the dad gives him confidence by saying, when your mother died, I didn't want to move on or anything, but I got over it, and I started looking for you. So yeah, that gives Snip an energy boost to get back into hero things. So yeah, and then Snip goes home, and then just sits down there. Poke is there. He's injured, but he's still there. Hold on, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. So yeah, what was I saying? Gave him a confidence boost because he said that blah blah blah. He goes home. Poke is there, but like he's still injured. So yeah, and then And then they're just sitting there watching TV, doing nothing else but that. They're bros, they're brothers, and then a portal opens, and then two black figures step out of it, and then when the camera fades in to show who they were like gray. They were like gray and dark versions of Snip and Poke, and then that would end. Then it would end. That would be the end. It would leave on a cliffhanger. And that's because I might make a movie too, or I just might make like some kind of comic or something about the movie too. But basically, if I wanted to make a movie too, once that was completed, I would put a trailer at the credits, and that would show like part 2. Which part 2 is basically, it's called Snip and Poke the Movie 2, Eat the Evils Within, and basically the gray and black versions of Snip and Poke are basically like evil versions from a different universe, where Snip ended up detonating Earth, and Mike is planning to detonate every universe now because he detonated his entire universe. So he's planning to detonate other ones, the evil Snip and Poke. That's basically the plot, and basically part 2 is kind of like into the Spider-Verse, where like they have to go and go across universes to not only save the universes, but to also save Lucy, because they could go back in time kind of and stop the death from Lucy happening. So yeah, that's basically the plot of part 2. The trailer wouldn't be that interesting. The trailer would open with messages saying we are evil, blah blah blah, and then it would cut to some place in then it would cut to some other universe, parallel universe. Snip would be falling down with a helmet on him. And the helmet basically lets him travel to different universes. And then he starts using his grapple hook around all of the different universe, because the different universe has parallel gravity, which means it's like he can't stand properly. Only the people in that universe could. So he had to grapple hook through that universe, and then another portal opens, and guess who's there? It's Snip's parallel from a different universe, who's evil, and then ends up fighting him in mid-air, like not even joking, in mid-air. So like they start fighting, and since the world is infinite, well, almost infinite, they keep falling, and Snip doesn't grapple hook around. They just keep falling they start falling leftwards. That's even a word. And start falling that way, and then they just fight, and eventually Snip ends up getting him off him, and then also Snip pulls his scissors. The evil Snip pulls his scissors out, and the scissors have grapple hook features as well, but except they're covered in blood, which indicates that he's been killing people. So then then the evil Snip grapples down to Snip, the regular Snip, and then pushes him down even further, really fast, and then leaps. Then the evil Snip propels himself down to the good Snip, and then like puts his mouth over his face and starts suffocating him. And then Snip screams, and then that's the end of the trailer. I'm not indicating that he dies. It's just that's the end of the movie 2 trailer or something. I don't know. It doesn't sound interesting. Let me know in the comments. That's it for the stream, guys. It was just a quick little video stream did about the Snip and Poke movie script. And also, I'm going to say this again. Happy 1-year anniversary, Snip and Poke. Hope you all have a great time on Boxing Day, and I hope you had a great time on Christmas. But that is it for this video, guys. Stream, whatever. I hope you enjoyed it. again, if that was spoilers for Snip and Poke the movie. So yeah, if you didn't want spoilers, you shouldn't have watched and listened to all that. So yeah, but that's it for this video, guys. If I'm gonna just go chill now, I'm not gonna do anything. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.